Hi everyone, and welcome once again to Ruby's Classic Cooking. And today I'm creating a broccoli beef stir fry. Now, I have no oriental blood whatsoever, so this isn't going to be your authentic restaurant quality blah blah blah. This is my own version of stir fry. And I love it because you can take a small amount of meat and you can take it and put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 vegetables, and everybody has a great time eating it. They enjoy it, and it's a little different meal than normally I cook, than I normally prepare. So anyway, let's get right into this. My daughter's coming for dinner tonight, and so I gotta get some stir fry on. Now, if you notice my new apron, my husband decided that for my birthday I needed some new aprons, and he wanted me to be able to let everybody know about what's my channel while you're watching me. If you're a new viewer, I hope that you will enjoy what you see today and come back again, maybe even become a subscriber, which would be great. And speaking of which, I appreciate all of my subscribers. I'm really glad that I have you, and I hope you continue to subscribe and enjoy, and maybe give this recipe a shot at home. Who knows? Your family might just enjoy some stir fry for a change. Anyway, first of all, I've got all my vegetables washed, and I peeled my carrots, because a lot of times I see on these shows people don't peel their carrots, and I'm like, people, they come out of the ground and there's a certain amount of mud on them, so really you should either really scrub them or scrape them or peel them. It's how I grew up, peeling your carrots. Now this right here is what we call a purple top sweet turnip, and it's great in stir fry. Now the problem a lot of people have with something like a turnip or a squash is, how the heck do you split it without killing yourself? Well, I have this handy dandy two-handed knife. Now this comes from Pampered Chef, but there are other ones out there. In fact, there's one that the Inuit women use called an ulu, and it's very similar in shape to this. Razor sharp, so if you ever get one, be really careful about using it. Now what this will do, this will split a turnip, a squash, a cabbage, and it's really a lot safer and easier, and it's really makes the job really easy. Now this is a really hard turnip, and I'm just going to come down on it. See, I can use both hands and push, whereas with a knife I can only use one hand, and I'm kind of trying to, but this I just push down and look, split my turnip in half, no problem. Now I'm just going to peel this turnip up, and I'm going to use half of it tonight because with all these different vegetables I really don't need to use a whole turnip and a whole cabbage. This is a plain old green cabbage, and so I'm just going to peel this up and get my vegetables prepped. That is one tough turnip, I can tell you. Firm. And there, I used my vegetable peeler on it, and it's all peeled and ready, all peeled and ready to go. Now with these, I'm going to use a trick that I saw Jamie Oliver do, and that is I'm going to use the stems in my stir fry. And I'll tell you something, the stems off your broccoli, which are perfectly edible, and you know what, they kind of have a bit of a celery almost taste to them. It's not celery, but if you don't have any celery, these work just fine. And I'm going to use all the stalks off of all this broccoli, although I'm not going to cook all the tops, because tomorrow I'm going to take the tops of these and I'm going to make a broccoli salad, which my husband and I enjoy. So I'm just going to break all the leaves off of here, which I'm not cooking. I'm getting rid of them. And I'm doing something like a stir fry. I find it easier to just get all my vegetables assembled and ready to go, and then I worry about getting them on in the pan. So right now I'm going to get rid of these. I'm going to do these broccolis up. Now I'll keep some of the tops for my my dinner tonight, but a lot of them are going to go like I said, into my salad tomorrow. And I'm going to cut that bit off the bottom. Turnip. Talk to you briefly here about my turnip. We call them turnips or purple top sweet. A lot of places, these things are known as rutabagas. Now, I don't know what the difference is between a rutabaga and a turnip, except that around here, a rutabaga costs more per pound than a turnip. And you can see that that one little piece of turnip is giving me a fair pile of turnip to use for my dinner tonight. So when you get your veggies in a restaurant and you have 3 or 4 of something or other, 4 slices of carrot or whatever, it's like, you know how many servings they got out of a carrot? Or look at this, look at all this, look at all of this I got off this. And it's a very small one. This one cost me $1.28 for this turnip and $1.49 for this cabbage. And I'm going to have mounds of vegetables here. And I'm going to cut these up like I would cut them up as if they were for stir fry, which I always cut them at an angle because you want to increase the surface area for things like this. It makes them cook faster and more evenly, which when you're wok cooking you want that to happen. And don't worry if you're wok cooking and you don't happen to own a wok, because a frying pan will do just fine. In fact, I've seen shows where people who are Asian are cooking Asian food at home, and you know what? They use a frying pan. They don't necessarily have a wok to use. I think for years I threw these broccoli stems away because I didn't realize how good they were to use for things like this. And you know what? They're great for soup too. If you're making soup, make a great vegetable to add to your soup. There, and now I've got my carrots. Push this all over to one side. And I've just got 2 large carrots here, and you'll be surprised how much is left here when I finish chopping this up, because you know what? You go to a restaurant and you go to a fancy dinner, what do you get? Half a dozen pieces of carrot? Well, they can really stretch a carrot in a restaurant, let me tell you. Now, I'm not going to get too close to the end of this carrot because I don't want to slice my finger open. And this is a pretty tough carrot, so I think I might just cut them this way. There. And one thing I will tell you about prepping veggies for stir fry, make sure you have sharp knives. There's nothing worse than a dull knife when you're trying to do this, because it can slip off your vegetable and you'll end up cutting your finger open, which is never a good result. I'm just going to cut this in half, and then I cut it in half again. And then you kind of make wedges out of it by coming down the side of your onion like this. And I'm cutting it the long way, like these are the 2 ends, and I'm cutting like slices off of it, like thin wedges out of the onion. And then I'll spread these out in the pan so that I have all these thin strips of onion, which is a different way of cutting it up. Not a way I do for if I'm doing a roast of beef or doing something like that. I cut it the other way. But this is the way they like to do it for wok cooking, so. And it does give you nice thin strips. So the veggies, there, okay. That's that one done. Now for a little bit of this green pepper, I think. I don't think I'm going to cook the whole thing, because with all these veggies, I don't really need the whole thing. Half of it's going to be more than enough. And while you're looking at this pile of vegetables, think about if you were in the grocery store and you bought a little package of meat and cut up vegetables to go in a stir fry, how much they charge you for that little bit of knife work that they do for you. Is it really worth the convenience, that extra cost? Because every time you buy something like that at the grocery store, you are paying for the convenience, and you're paying a huge price for that convenience. green pepper. Let's put a little bit of that over here. I might have to give that knife a little sharpen. Seems to be getting a little dull on me. And you want to cut your green pepper in thin strips, like that. So that's a half of that green pepper. The rest I'm going to put in the fridge. All this stuff I'm going to put in the fridge. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 vegetables here, and I'm going to cook rice. Now, I don't have a rice cooker. I've never owned a rice cooker, but I do own Corningware casseroles. And that's how I prepare my rice. In a Corningware casserole in the microwave. Turns out perfectly every time. Let me just clear my decks for action here. And it's about time. I think I should be putting the rice on pretty soon. Here's my half a cabbage. First of all, I've got to take this core out of the middle of it. I think I might just do it this way. There we go. And now you want to create, I'm going to create some, just create some slices of cabbage like this. Right down through the wedging. There we go. When that's cooked, it'll break apart in my wok as it cooks. And now I'm going to tend to my beef. When I put my beef away, I did do some up as thin strips. Now, you take a steak and you can just cut that into thin strips if you have a nice sharp knife like this, or just a nice sharp knife, even a paring knife, you can do it with that. And you've saved yourself $2 a pound for the cost of that meat, because a steak is X amount. Well, they add $2 or more to the cost of that meat if they cut it into nice thin strips for you. You can do it in 5 minutes in your own kitchen. All you need is a cutting board and a sharp knife. It's not like you need a degree in butchery to be able to cut a boneless steak into thin strips for stir fry. In fact, if a roast is on sale, you can buy that roast and you can cut it up into chunks of meat for stew. So you know what? You can have fabulous stew meat. And if it's on special this week, it's actually cheaper per pound than their stew meat, which is all gristle and fat and gross stuff. Whereas this is nice and meaty, lovely meaty pieces of meat, of beef, for your stew. Much better quality meat and cheaper. That's a win-win in my book. Now I'm just going to take this, I have to cut this into thin strips. But that's okay, that won't take me very long. I weighed this out to be about a pound, and my meat was $5.99 a pound that week, that particular week. This cut of beef was $5.99 a pound, so $6 worth of beef. And this is going to make a meal for, this is probably going to serve probably be 5 servings or 6 servings of this. And I'm talking generous servings. And there you have it. A good sized pile of beef that cost me $5.99 a pound. So that's about $6 worth of beef. This whole meal for probably 6 servings or more is going to be under $10. That's a pretty inexpensive meal for a family. And you're getting your 5-a-day vegetables all in one meal. And now onto my rice. I like to use Ben's converted white rice when I'm cooking rice. Long grain white rice. Whatever kind of rice you like to use. And what goes better with stir fry than rice? It's 1 cup of rice. Now I'm going to add 2 cups of water to this. So it's 1 part rice, 2 parts water. Then into the microwave it goes, my 1100 watt microwave. And I'm just going to push the rice button. But in the good old days, I didn't have a rice button on my microwave, so I would put it on for 5 minutes on high, 100% power, then reduce it to about 70% power for 25 minutes. And it was perfect. And it's still, you push the rice button and it comes out perfect every time. No water lying in it, and it is perfectly cooked and ready to use. So I don't own a rice steamer, and I never have. Now I'm going to add my 2 cups of cold water, and I'm going to put it in my microwave. And of course, you can use the same ratio if you're making a smaller amount of rice. You can make a half a cup of rice and 2 half cups of water, or a whole cup of water. That gives you the same ratio of rice to water, and it will still cook perfectly. I don't add anything else to it. It's just plain boiled rice. There you go. Rice and water. That's it. Now it's going to go in my microwave. And in about half an hour, I'll have lovely cooked rice. Now you can rinse it off and do this again and whatever, but I find this works just fine. It's the lazy man's way to make rice. That's the microwave, and that's ready to rock and roll whenever I am. So now I'm going to start off. I have garlic. I have Asian seasoning from Pampered Chef. I have salt, and I'm going to use sea salt. I have ginger, which I'm going to use. I have 5 spice powder, which I really don't know what's in it, since these are all Asian flavors, and I got it at the bulk burn, and a little bit of black pepper. So I'm also going to add some soy sauce and sesame oil to my wok. I'm going to start by adding some canola oil to my wok. When the meat is cooked, I take the meat out, then I'm going to cook the onions. Then you start adding the vegetables one at a time, and the turnip here is quite hard, so that will probably go in after the onions. Then the broccoli stems and the carrots will go in, and the cabbage, then the broccoli heads, and the green pepper will go in last because it's very soft and it doesn't take very long to cook up. And then I will be taking some cornstarch, about a heaping teaspoon from the drawer, and adding it to probably a 1/4 cup of cold water. Stir it together. And don't use hot water for this, because as soon as cornstarch hits hot water, it starts to thicken, and you don't want it to thicken in your bowl. You want it to be kind of thin, a little thin and watery and milky, and you'll be going, why am I adding this to my stir fry? But once it cooks, it becomes clear, and it thickens, and it will thicken the broth around your whole wok cooking. Also, I'm going to be adding some beef stock to this as well, just for extra flavor. So I'm going to get on with this, and I'll show you periodically while I'm cooking. I'll show you what the beef looks like when it's cooked, and then the veggies as they get going. Here's my meat all cooked nice and golden brown, and now I'm going to start adding some of my vegetables to my wok. I did this in 3 batches so that it all flattens out flat in the wok, so that you have a single layer of meat to cook, and then it cooks very quickly. And I just add a little sprinkle of all of those different ingredients to each batch as it went. Now I'm going to cook my onions, followed by my carrots and turnip, and then I'm going to add my broccoli stems, and then the cabbage, and finally the green pepper, and the broccoli flowerettes. And I'll come back and show you what the whole wokful looks like. And I'll be adding all of those spices and things to it as I go. One of the important things to remember when you're wok cooking is to be sure to keep your vegetables in your wok moving all the time, because it's a very, very hot surface, and you want to get your veggies cooking for that raw, but you don't want to cook them till they're mush either, so they're still al dente, and you just keep stirring them around so they don't burn, and add more oil if you need to. Okay, and here is my stir fry, and now I just have to add my my cornstarch to this to make the finished glaze, and I'll probably add a little bit of water just to steam these vegetables up really, really nicely, and then probably 1/4 cup of water, a little bit, just enough to drizzle over here. And see how my vegetables have all cooked up nicely, but they're still al dente, and there's plenty of meat mixed through here for 6 people. About $10 worth of groceries went into this. And there you are. There's my final product right here, all nice and shiny with the cornstarch all cooked on top of it. And I added some beef stock to that too, probably about a tablespoon. Just kind of squeezed it right out of the bottle all over here while I stirred it around. All right, well, there's my broccoli stir fry, and here is my rice, right out of the microwave, See how perfectly boiled up that is. Well, I hope you enjoyed my video today, and I hope you will like and subscribe and come back and see me next time, see what I'm cooking in my kitchen next time on Ruby's Classic Cooking. Bye for now.